Now, I'm not usually one for hyperbole, but this has to be said. It's the greatest game of 2024. Prepare for a modern immortal. It's Saleh Salem with the black pieces from the United Arab Emirates and his opponent Vladimir Fedoseev, a stalwart Russian grandmaster now playing for Slovenia. Round 3, this is over the board, classical chess, and Fedoseev kicks off with pawn to d4. We get knight f6, c4, g6. Does Saleh want a Grunfeld or a King's Indian? Well, whatever he was going for, now it's Fedoseev who plows the h-pawn down the board, completely changing the character of the position. You already know we've got a classic on our hands here. So d6 played. The King's Indian defense pawn structure on the board. Now knight c3, knight b to d7. This is a quirky pet line of Salem's. Now we get this queen to c2, and look at that for a move. It either gets played by a 300 rated player or a 3000 rated. Both players in their quirky sidelines here. We get c5 on the board, d5 in response, and the battle lines are drawn. Black gonna try and play on these dark squares. White in the meantime, after a6, not going a4, possible, going e4, taking the space, taking the light square grip, especially using the old classic camel toe pawn formation. And now, here the game just gets exploded already, Benko Gambit styley, as Salem pushes on with pawn to b5. Fedoseev takes a moment and then gobbles the pawn, making a gobbling sound as he goes. That's what the top professionals do when they're over the board. And then bishop g7 is played, a second pawn offered. This time when Fedoseev takes it, he makes a double gobble gobble sound. Both players having a little giggle, and after castles, Salem in no rush to recapture the a-pawn, Fedoseev is like, right, anything you can do, I can do better. He pushes on with the h-pawn here just to open attacking lines, and after it's captured, Salem doing a giant as he takes it, we get g4 in response, kicking back the knight, and g5. And here's the point, if you go knight e8, it starts getting a little passive. Playable, but passive. So knight h5 is actually the best move, because even though it walks into bishop e2 and your pawn structure is about to get mangled, a la Bobby Fischer versus Boris Spassky from their famous 1972 match. Have a look at that game if you never have. Well, after bishop a6, the point is revealed, because to take the knight and damage the structure, you do give black the monstrous bishops, and especially this one, now unopposed, scything down this diagonal. So f4 from Fedoseev, not just because he wants to set up the old bathtub pawn formation, but more importantly, he takes away e5, so this knight can't hop monstrously forward. That's why we see e6, trying to break up this central structure. And although as white, you would love to transfer the queen over, then into here and here, do some nasty stuff, well, bishop d3 is coming just in time. You can eliminate the knight with check, then capture the e-pawn with that light squared bishop. It's a great attacker and defender in many of the lines. So instead, Fedoseev settles for developing a knight here. We get queen e8, nice multi-purpose move, again combining with the bishop on the light squares. And now the next move, a bit surprising because it opens lines, but it's tough. If you go immediately bishop e3, then f5 comes. Black can force open lines towards the white monarch. So this one was played. Now pawn recaptures, rook and queen both with their eyes opened, and after knight g3, headed for h5, then into these dark squares here. Now the game just explodes into life. Look at the king here. It's got no clothes, naked as the day it was born. How to exploit it, bring the attack to fruition for black, who has a mangled structure. Well, the move is knight e5. What a thunderbolt. Just beautiful to see. It's headed for d3, where it does devastation on the white position. So taking, basically forced, bishop recaptures, you're on the knight and you've opened the rook. And here's the really nice point. If white takes the pawn, the most natural move, well, there's an amazing tactical shot. How do you go full Harry Potter in this position? Do something special. It's a bit of puzzle rush for you. Always look to sack your queen, right? Rook recaptures and it's left the protection of this square on f1. So the rook slams down. How about that for a monster attacker? King goes and the second bishop shuts the trap. These pieces here acting as lapels on the king's shoulder, but in a deadly way. It's blocked in, suffocated. Amazing lines. So king g2 played, queen g2. Best move, covers the knight. The f1 square well and truly covered still. Rook b8 bringing more firepower into this attack, and now knight takes on h5 played. This time it's not working because the queen covers f1. So instead we see queen g6. Now bishop e3, preparing to castle the king. How do you throw more fuel on the fire here? You know, black is a minor piece down. You have to keep attacking. Well, the move played, an excellent one, is pawn to d5. Bishop d3, technically the engine's first choice, but this is so natural, so tricky. You know, what happens if you take that pawn? Well, guess what? Stockfish poops its pants because the bishop can take the knight with check, pawn recaptures, and look at the lines you've opened up. Look at the geometry here. This is a sample and you lose the white queen by force. Really nice stuff. So you can't capture the pawn. What else to try here? Different stuff, right? Okay, bishop takes, then what happens? Still the pieces break through in this awesome way. Loose rooks, there's this one coming down potentially, all sorts going on. So we see castles, allowing d4. Yes, winning back a piece, but white gains some time now. Rook dg1 played. Queen h3, the preferred choice of the Silicon Overlord, but it's very tough, very tactical. The piece recaptured, the pawn heading towards the king, so b3 forced to keep lines closed. Bishop d3, good attacking move, and now Fedoseev misses the best white attacking chance. It's knight f6 check. Maybe he got a bit ambitious, didn't want the ladies to leave the board. This is how the line goes. King f7, actually best. Yes, you allow this rook to crash through or the pawn to be cemented, but going here was more dangerous. We won't go into it. White a bit better here. Not a pawn ahead, but with these dangerous pawns, more dangerous than this one. Okay, we go back. Knight f6 check, missed. Instead, we see queen h3 here, and it sets up what can only be described as
an absolute banger. It's a game changer.
Yes, there's a stunning combination incoming. What would you play here as black? It's the best move. It's an absolute corker. Rook takes on b3. Truly special. That one is captured and the point revealed with rook to a8. You opened up the a file and this pawn and bishop are completely cutting the king. This is threatening a checkmate. How to get around it? Knight f6 check is technically best, but after bishop captures, then you have to see the in-between move of queen takes with check. It's not easy stuff. So king d1 was tried instead, clearing a square for the bishop to retreat to, but now the game just goes to the next level. This is what makes it the game of 2024. Can you find the icing on the cake to this combination here? It's very special. Very well done if you can find this move. The earlier theme, queen takes on h5 with check. Saleh Salem take a bow. He sacrifices his lady to land this deadly check. Hang on, bishop blocks. How do you finish from here? Again, I'll give 3 seconds, 2, 1. You take off the bishop and Fedoseev resigns the game. Chess like this puts a smile on your face. The king can capture, sure, but then you land a second check here. And this is why you had to eliminate the knight, or else it could recapture that bishop. But here, no such luck. You can move the king, but the pawn runs, a queen is made, and then if you block with the queen, this is how you mate. If instead of blocking with the queen, you run with the king, again there's another checkmate. What a game. Really, really enjoyed that one. I hope you did too. Do subscribe if you want to see more games like this one, and check out the video on screen for a game by Magnus Carlsen which is taking the chess world by storm right now. Hope to see you again soon. Cheers.